Today I'm going to be bringing you crucial progression tips that you need to know in Once Human. I'm going to start off with some more simple things just to get everybody on the same page, and then we're going to move on to some more advanced things as we go through the video. As always with my videos, there will be timestamps down below, so feel free to jump around, but I do appreciate everybody that watches all the way through. Other than that, if you find the video useful and informative, please drop me a like and a subscribe. Both of those things hugely help out me and the channel, so I would much appreciate that. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So first things first here, XP. Obviously, we need XP to level up. You can see I am not quite at the max level yet, but with a bit more playtime, I could get myself up there. And there's going to be a few main sources of getting XP in the game. Firstly, you will see from the footage here is from killing mobs and going around doing your quests, because this is generally the most straightforward way to do this. If you press J and get yourself onto the journey screen here, you will also know that you will get XP as a reward for completing some of these tasks here. You'll see as you go through them, it'll tell you it gives you 50 XP and some energy links. When you complete one entire category, you do then get a controller and some Starchrome as well, so it's nice to keep on top of these. Additionally to this, you can hold tab and summon V at any point in time, and what you can do with V is click on the View Commissions tab, and if you haven't completed your one for the week, you can of course go ahead and do 5 of these. These generally give out between 1600 and 2000, maybe even more for some of the week 2 ones, and especially as we go into week 3, 4 and 5 and 6, if you haven't reached max level by those points, these do give out a fair amount of XP. And as you can see, once you've completed 5 of 5, that is 13,000 XP that you can go ahead and claim. And there for me, I've just got a nice cheeky level up, so make sure you stay on top of these. Additionally to this, what you can do is head over to your kitchen set or whatever stage of the game you're at, any cooking sort of thing you've got in your base, and once you've unlocked dishes 3 on the Mematics tab, which if you head over to the Mematics screen and go into logistics and scroll down, you will need to get all the way down here, so it's going to take you a fair few levels, at least the first 30 or so, but once you've got down here, you can actually unlock dishes 3, and this is going to unlock us the orange pie recipe. What you can do with this is get 25% extra XP for every monster you defeat for 30 minutes once you eat one of these. I made a full video on how you can do this yesterday, so if you are interested in getting the ins and outs as well as where to get all of the materials for it from, the bananas, the apples and the grapes, feel free to go and watch that one, but this is a really good food, so make sure you are taking advantage of it. For the sake of completeness, I know most people know this, but gathering will also net you XP as well as smelting. When you take stuff out of the smelter, you can see there on the side that you get XP, and generally you get more XP for the higher tier resources that you are doing. As well as this, you can also do a semi-AFK method by getting water pumps, making a base next to the sea, and then getting salt water, turning the salt water into salt, which gets you some XP, and then you can of course sell the salt to the vendors for some money. It's only going to cost 1 for 1, but you can get thousands of this at a time very, very easily. Alright then, so moving on to weapons and gear. Generally speaking, the higher tier that the blueprint is, so you can see like the green, then the blue, and then the purple and the gold. The higher tier that you go up, the damage and the base stats will increase. As well as this, once you get to blue or above, you will start to get weapon features that are on here, and once you get to gold, there's quite a few things in this weapon features section, so these are going to be much better for you, so definitely upgrade this. The same with the gear as soon as you can. Slightly different with the gear, but you are still going to get a big base stat increase compared to the previous tier. So you can see here the green is 413 HP, then we go up to the blue, which is 472, and then the purples here, which are the 531. Then of course increasing the tier of the craft as soon as it's possible to do so. Whatever stage of the game you're at, craft the highest tier you can with the materials that you have, because this again is going to increase the base stats. You can see on this deagle here we've got 102, then 158, then 252, then 394, and finally 599 as a base stat when you're crafting that top tier 5 stuff. So this is really important to do as well. Keep updating this as you're progressing through the game and leveling up to these new tiers. You also want to make sure that you're going up to your bench here and pressing the calibrate button. Again on PC this is J. You go in here and calibrating your weapons is going to be very, very important. What you'll see once you start to get up to some of these higher tier weapons, so the purples and the golds, they will have additional perks that unlock at each calibration level. So you can see at +4, +7 and +10. Now depending on the weapon, sometimes it will only go up to 7 out of 7 calibration. Some of these will go up to 10 even though they're not legendary, but the legendary ones all go all the way up to 10 here, and that means you can access all of these additional perks. It's going to increase the base stats on the weapons and give you those perks, and it's the same for gear gear as well. However, you don't get the extra perks, but it is very crucial to keep increasing these because you're going to see the base stats of the HP going up quite dramatically, as well as the PSI intensity over here as well. So you're going to want to make sure that you are upgrading these. You can see if we go ahead and do these gloves right now as a quick example for you all, it goes up to 510, then 588, then 639, and then this final one here, 691. So a very big increase, as well as the PSI intensity going up all of those times as well. It's going to be super worthwhile calibrating your gear and your weapons, and it also increases the overall gear score or power score, whatever you want to call this, of that piece. Then once you've figured out all of your crafting and your calibration, you want to look at mods. Mods are going to be really important. Of course, the legendary gold ones are going to be the best ones here. You want to make sure you've got something on that will affect your weapon. So for example, the more part shrapnel hits, the higher the shrapnel damage, each part plus 15%. As well as this, it's giving me weapon damage of plus 2.4%, damage against elite enemies plus 6%, weapon damage reduction plus 3.6%, and magazine capacity of plus 2.4%. Now, when you're starting off the game, you might be on greys and greens, and you'll gradually get these from bosses, from the mini bosses that you kill, from the big bosses that you kill, from the monoliths, or from the dungeons or POI chests, things like that. You'll get a lot of these dropped. Some of them are weapon specific, so you'll see here, if I look on this weapon, it'll be different to what I would have on a piece of gear, for example. You've got slightly different mods for each of these things. You can see I've got a lot of golds for the chest plate. So you want to go through each time you get some new stuff and check you are running the best thing for your build. Like I said, you want to make sure that you're running something that makes sense with your weapon. So you can see here, if we press A and flick over to the weapon features, this has got a 4% chance to trigger shrapnel. So obviously having a shrapnel perk on this weapon is really good. Now it's also worth noting that if you have a mod equipped, or you go into the mod menu and hover over one, if you right click on this, you can actually enhance the mods. Now the legendary gold ones can be enhanced up to 5 times, but these do cost quite a big amount of materials in order to do so. Of course, the energy links are pretty hefty there, but we're going to move on to how you can easily make a ton of energy links like you can see at the top for me. But if you are needing some more materials to upgrade some of your perks, what you can actually do is head over to your disassembly bench, go onto the perk menu, and just start to disassemble some of these. Now the greens and the blues, they're going to give you just a few each, depending if you've already upgraded them. But as soon as you move on to the purples here, you're going to start to see a fair amount of these. And if you do actually get rid of any legendaries, which to be honest I wouldn't recommend because these are harder to get, but you can soon work up a way to get a load of this material back, so you can get your armor mods or your weapon mods increased there, and you can actually start to upgrade all of the mods that you are currently using to make your build as good as possible. Now just when you think you're done with everything, you've actually now got blueprint upgrades. Now this seems to be more of a cross-seasonal style of progression, but what this is essentially going to be is an upgrade to the blueprint itself. Now you can see the potential of each blueprint by the little stars indicated in the top left of each of these pictures. If we have a look on here, you'll be able to see on the right hand side here how many blueprint fragments you have for each thing. And on the weapon pictures, it tells you in the bottom left what that category is. So Beyonder, for example, here is my golden soccer. This one I have 20 fragments for, 10 of them legendary, 10 of them epic. Now, if you want to go ahead and upgrade them, you right click on them, go onto this enhancement thing here. If you have the same weapon as what you've got, this will give you double, and legendaries give you 30, so that's going to give me a nice 600 XP towards it, but I don't have enough to fully level it up. But if, for example, you wanted to level something up, and you do actually have enough points to do this, what it will do is increase the base stats every time you craft that weapon, and so it's generally going to improve these. Like I said, you do need a fair few different materials in terms of the fragments here to do this, so it's probably more of a cross-seasonal thing, given that blueprints do transfer between different seasons, the 6-week seasons that we have on the game. So this is probably more of a long-term thing, but it's worth being aware of now. And if you are watching this at the time that the video comes out, you may be able to get a level or two in some things. Like you can see here, I've upgraded my blue KAM rifle a little bit, and that was because I had extra fragments of that exact weapon. Could have saved them for some other ones, but I just wanted to try it out earlier in the game and did so. And so you may be able to do some of your favourite weapons, maybe just a level or two for now, but it's worth knowing about that feature as well. Now this is of course the same for armor, but just for the sake of completeness I wanted to mention that and make sure everybody is aware this is exactly the same. They are different fragments, however for each one, although they do have the same names, the armor fragments are unique to the weapon fragments, so you can upgrade things differently there. Next we're looking at Deviants. Deviants are basically going to be personal preference in terms of what you prefer for combat. A lot of people really like the Festering Gel. I've not got this guy equipped right now, but the Festering Gel is apparently a very good good one once you get him a bit higher level. People are really enjoying using this guy. Me, personally, I'm preferring the Lone Wolf one right here, the Lone Wolf Whisper. This guy is what you get from defeating the Shadow Hound, and it's very, very useful in combat. Generally speaking, the higher rating you get on these, so the higher skill rating and activity rating, just means that they are going to be available more often, and they're going to be better in combat when they do come up, or better in gathering and go gathering more often if that's what they're doing, like the Digby boy does right here. So generally, you want to make sure that you've got higher rating ones where it's possible. I'll have a full video on this soon though, breaking down what you need to do with your Deviants to make the most out of them. Alright, moving on to money then. Energy links is the currency that we have here in Once Human, and making energy links is actually very easy. There's lots of stuff you can do. Again, I do have a full video up on the channel here if you want to check out all of the different ways you can do this in a more in-depth guide. But generally speaking, you want to pick up something like copper ingots. Everybody has access to these. They only cost copper to make, especially once you get to the electric furnace. You no longer need charcoal, you just need to have them attached to a power supply, and you can essentially just make copper and sell those to the traders. Another really, really good one is going on to the kitchen set and making things like your fruit teas. This will require some mematics to unlock it in the dishes tree, but once you've unlocked it, you can use different versions of flowers and plants with some water, make some fruit tea, and these sell for 45 energy links each, so you can just mass produce a load of these by running up a river, gathering the water and gathering the plants, and then producing the tea. These are going to be great ways to make money. Now, most of you will know about the mematic specializations with this. If you're lucky enough to get a good one, like I have done here, the precious metal smelting, this means that I can make silver and gold ingots. Silver ingots sell for 6,000 energy links each, while gold sell for 12,000 each. So these are really good to sell to the traders. And on top of that, you can also get different ones like the combo chipsets. Those are also worth 12,000 each. So if you get lucky with one of those, you can of course do that. It's also worth noting that a lot of people are setting up vending machine shops around their bases. So what you're looking out for is this machine right here. You'll be able to see them on the map. If you go into the map, there is the vending machine toggle that you can see on the top here. And that will actually bring up the vending machines so you can kind of have a quick overview of where they are and what people are selling. A lot of the times, if you've already reached this end game settlement right here, the Blackfell settlement, people are parking up trucks with the vending machines on for you to buy things from there, and often you'll be able to pick up silver ingots for less than 6,000 energy links each, and gold ingots for less than 12,000 energy links each, because people are selling them cheaper, trying to make additional money off the specialization, because the traders have a weekly limit. So once you've made them buy all of your materials for as much as that weekly limit is, they can't buy any more. So people will sell these at a cheaper price, so you can actually buy them off the other players and sell them to the vendor for the full price. Remember, silver ingots 6,000 each, gold ingots 12,000 each, combo chipsets 12,000 each. If you've got the money to purchase them cheaper than that from a player, do that a few times and you'll be able to max out your traders in no time as well. Another big one then, Stardust Source. This is going to be used for a few different things, but most notably in the late game, it's going to be for upgrading your weapons and armor. You can see this is going to cost me 500 just for one level here, and I've got 1,700 right now. You of course get this from a multitude of different ways, be it quests, side quests. The main thing is going to be activating those rift anchors. They will give you, you can see there, the activation rewards is the Stardust Source. You can also get them from various other drops. Another notable way that you can kind of semi-farm these, although it's not infinite because you do need the cards, but that is going to, of course, be the workshops. If you've got the card to access the workshop, or you can join somebody else's one when they're doing it, then you can, of course, go over to these and get involved. Go over there and you'll get some Stardust Source from that. My personal favourite way and the most consistent way I have found, and especially because my base is right next to a silo here, is just running back-to-back silos with a decent teammate or two, getting through these really, really quickly, and you'll end up getting a load of these. I did about 7 or 8 runs in a row and went from about 100 to this 1,700 Stardust Source. I was getting anywhere from between 50 to 100 from the boss kills, so running this a few times, you get a nice amount from it. Now, the next thing that everybody is wanting to get once you get to the end game for the crafting of tungsten and such like that is going to be acid. This one, there's a few ways you can get it. Generally, it drops from the deviated mobs, which are the zombie type ones. They all have a chance to drop some acid when you kill them, and you can get food that boosts the drop rate for this. Again, this was in full detail in yesterday's video if you do want to go and check that out and kind of find out how you can get this really easily, plus all the materials easily. But essentially, you want to make the preserved deviated chops. This is going to give you an acid gain by 50% when defeating deviants, so it'll drop you a ton more acid. Some great places to farm this are the late game POIs. A lot of people really like the area just around the stadium here, so the Blackfell Fallen Zone. But basically any late game POI that has the deviating mobs in, you'll be able to get this. You can of course do it in silos as well, but people have had better results in the POIs. Some people have had better results in the silos. Generally speaking, I think the POIs are better, but it's up to you. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Also worth noting that if you are next to polluted water, I'm just next to dirty water right now, but if you get polluted water next to your base, you can make a water pump here. What that will do is bring in water, but it will also bring in some weak acid. You can pop that into the purifier and that will separate them out, and then eventually you can pop it into the barrels and make it into the acid that you craft with. It's a very, very slow process, so it is much more of a background thing that you can do in order to just get a little bit extra from time to time, and it's never going to come anywhere close to popping that food and go around and clearing out the deviating mobs, but it is another way you can get some, so I thought it was worth letting people know. Additionally to this, you can get a perk on the Mimetic specialization that lets you smelt Stardust Source for acid. Now you can see it costs 4 Stardust Source per one, so you can end up making a full stack of 99 for just shy of 300 Stardust Source. Again, if you're going and farming these dungeons or these silos, you're going to be able to get this up pretty quickly between the two, because you do get some dropped, and then you can use the Stardust Source to actually craft it if you want to. I wouldn't recommend this quite as much, although it's quite nice. It's still going to be less worthwhile than using the Stardust Source for upgrading, but if you've finished all your upgrades, it's a nice additional thing to have. On top of this, like the vending machines I mentioned before, a lot of players are actually selling acid, but do be aware a lot of the deals are not worthwhile, so check them before you purchase from a trading vending machine. Now the final thing I just want to touch on here then is the special items that you can get from the mimetic specializations from yourself or from other players. Now I personally have the portable rainwater collector. This one gives you, when it's in your backpack, you restore hydration on rainy days and have a 30% chance of obtaining a portion of dirty water, pure water or acid every minute. This is really good because obviously it's a passive income for that acid, which is why I picked it up. It's very nice. It also keeps your character more hydrated, which is excellent and can be very helpful. I also have the activated carbon filter. This one is when this item is in your backpack. Enjoy a 30% chance of obtaining a portion of boiled water or pure water when collecting water with a flask. This one's really good if you're actually purifying some of the salt water, like I said before, or when you're generally just collecting it for a stock up for your plants or whatever. This is a great one to have. Now, I've managed to buy off other players through the vending machines, gardening gloves. These ones give you a 12% chance to get double the amount of seeds when you're gathering. I've got the electronics grabber. This one's really good because when it's in your backpack, there is a 10% chance you get an extra 1 to 3 electronic components from storage crates. I've then got the gravel and log on the go, which gives us reduced weight of logs, gravels and ores you carry by 80%. And of course I was gifted by one of my friends, Azo, this really good solar drill. So this one's got 100% yield for gold ore and silver ore and stardust ore, which is netting me a huge amount of money, meaning I can easily cap out those weekly trader limits. So this is really good. Now, if you can buy these from the vending machines from other players, some of the ones that you don't have yourself, for energy links using the method I showed you here earlier, and if you want a full in-depth video, like I said, there is one on the channel, you can check it out, make a load of money, go to these vending machines, and then actually buy some of these unique items from other players, because they can be super, super helpful. And of course, if you get lucky enough to have a good role, like I've just got unlocked a new role here, if you get something good, then you can of course pick it up. So that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully it has helped you out. If it has, please do be sure to drop me a like and a subscribe down below. If there's any other crucial progression tips you think people should know about Once Human that you think I've missed here, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. And other than that, I will catch you again very shortly in a brand new upload. So take care and peace.